Good morning, I'm Pauline Verzosa sitting in for Gretchen Ho. It is Friday, the 5th of December, and we're bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Now let's get to the stories that matter today. ICI Commissioner Babe Singson explained that his reason for resigning as a member of the ICI was personal and had no connection to politics. As a result, several lawmakers are advancing proposals to grant the ICI greater authority if the government genuinely wishes to apprehend the high-profile names linked to corruption. Congressman Sandro Marcos, presidential son and House Majority Leader, testified before the ICI. The public hearing was brief, lasting just a few minutes on live stream, and his lawyer cited the need for an executive session, claiming Marcos could provide uncensored information more easily behind closed doors. And TV5 released a statement on the ABS-CBN content partnership. Although the popular shows were valuable, TV5 cited ABS-CBN's inability to fulfill its financial obligations as a major concern that needs immediate resolution. Now, welcome to our program Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. And now, first on the agenda. House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos appeared before the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, but the hearing was cut short after his lawyers requested a closed-door session. More details in this report.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this honorable commission?
I do.
Presidential son and House Majority Leader Congressman Sandro Marcos appeared before the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, but the live stream of the hearing lasted only a few minutes. His lawyer requested an executive session, saying the congressman could provide information more freely in private.
We again request that for an executive session for Congressman Marcos.
We grant your request, so we will adjourn the session and go into executive session.
Congressman Marcos agreed to release the video recording of his testimony to the ICI. According to Sandro, the commission did not summon him, nor is he the subject of any investigation. He says he appeared voluntarily to assist in the probe into the flood control scandal.
Wala po akong tinatago, so I am happy to assist them in any way, shape, or form.
He was previously accused by former Ako Bicol Representative Zaldico of inserting 50 billion pesos into the national budget from 2023 to 2025. But as he had repeatedly done in the past, Congressman Marcos again insisted cause allegations are lies.
I did not do any such a thing. Kung nakikita niyo po yung listahan, may mga project dyan sa Davao City nakalista sa Davao City. Alam naman natin sino nakatira doon, ba't po ako maglalagay ng projects doon?
Aside from alleged budget insertions, a report by the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism said Marcos supposedly received 15 billion pesos in allocables, funds from the DPWH distributed to districts for infrastructure projects. The report called this a new form of pork barrel. Congressman Sandro was asked about it, but he did not respond.
Report on your allocable. Thank you.
If Sandro appeared before the ICI even without being summoned, Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte initially said he was open to an investigation into projects in his district. But he later on announced he would not appear before the ICI, saying the commission has no authority or jurisdiction over lawmakers. He claimed Malacanang is using the ICI for propaganda and that non-allies of the administration are being turned into punching bags. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
Well, President Bongbong Marcos linked the administration's ongoing anti-corruption efforts to a major surgery required to remove cancer. Speaking before the Malacanang press corps, the president apologized for what he described as a difficult period for both the government and the public following the flood control scandal. He stressed that had he not exposed the alleged irregularities in flood control projects, corruption in government would continue. Despite public criticism, Marcos expressed confidence in the administration's recovery plan in the aftermath of the controversy. The president also said he hopes that once investigations are completed and accountability is enforced, the public will recognize that the challenging reforms undertaken were necessary and ultimately worthwhile.
And when you have to excise a cancer out of such a complicated system, you need to do some very major surgery. And to do that, and when you do that, you will bleed. And that is what we had to go through. We had to go through that. And I'm sorry that the people suffered because of it, but it had to be done. Otherwise, we would do things the same way that we have always done, that the things that we have discovered that have been being done for the last 3 decades will just continue.
Meantime, ICI Commissioner Babe Singson's resignation has prompted lawmakers to demand action, saying Congress must empower the commission if government expects it to go after the big fish. Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos with a report.
My letter was sent a few weeks ago, and it's irrevocable that complied with the 30-day notice. May mga nagsasabi na kung pwede daw extend. Sabi ko, why not? Kung mga 15 days lang, wala namang problema. But otherwise, it stays on December 15.
On our sister program Historicon, ICI Commissioner Rogelio Babe Singson said officials knew about his resignation way before it was announced Wednesday, December 3rd. On Thursday morning, he also spoke at length to media on why he quit. He clarified that his reasons were personal and had nothing to do with politics or external pressures.
My 77-year-old body cannot take it anymore. I've been in and out of the hospital. This is the first time in my life that I've been asked to take maintenance medication for heart, high BP, high cholesterol, high creatinine, name it, everything is red flag in my body.
Singson likewise revealed that he had actually planned to stay with the ICI for only 3 months. On such short stint, the former public works chief believes he delivered his commitment to provide technical expertise in the government infrastructure projects.
I feel that I've done what I have to do for ICI, but I have to also answer to the needs of my family, family concerns, and my own personal life. I want to get back my privacy.
Nevertheless, Singson says the ICI is not equipped, from powers to manpower, to handle its Herculean task of cracking down on corruption. Their printers are borrowed. They have to bring their own laptops, and their staff, all volunteers.
Up to now, yung budget na sinasabi nila, nasa dyaryo lang, wala pa sa amin. Nasa dyaryo nga, wala sa amin.
And while making do with very limited resources, the expectations of ICI are unlimited, which is to catch all the big fish in the flood control mess. That is why he's calling for Congress to expedite the body's legalization so that they will have more teeth and broader powers to probe anomalies. Singson says they need help, and immediately.
I am appealing to members of Congress, both the House and the Senate, ipasa nyo na yung IPC, or Independent People's Commission at the Senate level, and the ICAIC, which is at the lower house version. They committed that they will pass it before the end of the year, so hopefully by the end of the year, you will now have a much stronger independent commission with proper powers and authorities that ICI does not have.
Amid the challenges, Babe Singson believes the ICI is not dead yet, as what his friend, Caloocan Congressman Egay Erice told One News Historicon on December 3.
I don't think that's a fair statement. No? It's a commission work. No? I'm just one of 3 members. We were absorbing a lot of the flack for something that we have no power to do. Pakulong nyo yan, yung kurakot. Wala naman kaming power na magpakulong. O di, sino sinisi? ICI. Ang bagal nyo. You must be protecting the big fish.
For Navotas Congressman Toby Tiangco, Singson's resignation signals the urgent need to pass the proposed Independent Commission Against Infrastructure Corruption or ICAIC bill. Tiangco authored the bill together with ML Party List Representative Leila De Lima and Erice.
Kumakalampag na po kami, both sa House leadership and also kay Pangulo. Nasaan na po? Bakit po hindi pa ini-schedule for plenary? We have barely 5 session days remaining. May sapat pa bang panahon?
So inaasahan namin na gagalaw ito dahil pinangako naman ni Speaker Boji D na we will finish the ICA-IC bill before the Christmas break. So ang problema na-stall. Hindi namin alam kung bakit.
Deputy Speaker Raymond Democrito Mendoza and Infrastructure Committee Chair Terry Redon expect the plenary to take the ICI Empowerment Bill up before the House goes on session break on December 18. On the part of the Senate, Justice Committee Chair Kiko Pangilinan, co-author of the establishment of the Independent People's Commission, said there's already a committee report ready for plenary deliberation.
Yung pag-resign ni Sec Babes is, I think, all the more dapat talagang isulong itong IPC kasi nga siya mismo nga nagsasabi na kulang ang kapangyarihan, ang resources, ang pondo ng ICI para magampanan yung hinihingi sa kanyang trabaho.
Despite his resignation from the ICI, Singson said he's still willing to help the government. To Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon, Singson had the instructions to set into motion an already existing flood control master plan. Dizon said Singson is willing to also lend a hand in a pet project of the Marcos administration.
Sabi niya sa akin, gusto niyang tulungan si Presidente sa pag-implement nung 18 major river system master plan, no, for flood mitigation na sinimulan niya nung siya ay DPWH secretary na unfortunately hindi na implement, no. So specifically sinabi niya sa akin, sinabi din niya alam ko sa ating Pangulo.
Kapatid Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
And in other news, Baguio City Mayor Benji Magalong revealed that he has received information indicating that more officials are allegedly planning to resign from the Independent Commission for Infrastructure. While he declined to identify them, Magalong told 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang that these individuals share the same sentiments that prompted outgoing ICI Commissioner Babe Singson to step down. Magalong, who previously served as special advisor to the ICI, acknowledged that the commission's effectiveness has long been hampered by its lack of subpoena and contempt powers. He also emphasized that the next commissioner must possess strong infrastructure expertise, advanced technical proficiency, and the resilience to navigate the challenges facing the commission.
May naririnig din ako, most probably same sentiment, stressful, lack of support, lack of authority, power. Yun ang mga sentiments talaga. Ito yung vision mo, ito yung gusto mo ma-achieve. Pero hirap na hirap ka ma-achieve kasi kulang. Hindi kulang yung resources mo, kulang pa yung power. Paano mo i-achieve? Mapufrustrate ka. Dissolution.
Don't go away. We still have more stories when we return. Keep it here on One News. Good morning and welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. And now on to the weather. Tropical Depression Wilma slightly accelerates over the Philippine Sea rather. Pag-asa last spotted its center at 245 kilometers east of Borongan City, eastern Samar. Wilma may make its initial landfall or pass close over eastern Visayas or Dinagat Islands this evening and tomorrow morning. Afterwards, it will continue to traverse Visayas until Sunday before emerging over Sulu Sea. Over a dozen areas across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao are now under Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 1. And these are now being flashed on your screens. Well, as mentioned, Pag-asa is monitoring Tropical Depression Wilma inside the Philippine Area of Responsibility. And now let's get the latest from Pag-asa weather specialist. We have Munir Baldomero joining us this morning on the line. Good morning, Munir. What can you tell us?
Yes po, good morning Miss Pawin and magandang umaga din po sa lahat ng ating taga-subaybay. So para po sa lagay ng ating panahon ngayong araw. So today po, since na-expect po natin itong si Wilma ay maaari pong maglandfall tonight or tomorrow morning dito sa may area po ng Eastern Visayas. So today po is meron po tayong nakalabas na weather advisory number 7 kung saan maaari pong makaranas ng 100 to 200 millimeters na pag-ulan. Today ngayon ang Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Samar Province, Biliran, Leyte and Southern Leyte, habang 50 to 100 millimeters naman po ina-expect dahil sa mga pag-ulan na dala po ni Tropical Cyclone Wilma dito sa may Cebu, Bohol, Negros Oriental, Negros Occidental, Siquijor, Guimaras, Iloilo, Capiz, Surigao del Norte, Dinagat Islands, Agusan del Norte, Misamis Oriental, Camiguin, Lanao del Norte, and Misamis Oriental. Sa ngayon po, meron pa rin po tayong epekto ng shear line kung saan pwede pa rin po ito magdala ng 100 to 200 millimeters sa pag-ulan dito sa may Catanduanes, Albay, Sorsogon at Masbate, habang 50 to 100 millimeters naman pong in-expect over Camarines Sur. Para po sa lagay ng panahon ngayong araw, so Eastern Visayas, Surigao del Norte, Surigao del Sur, Dinagat Islands, ay makakaranas po ng rain with gusty winds dahil po dito kay Tropical Depression Wilma, habang ang Bicol Region, Occidental Mindoro, Oriental Mindoro, and Marinduque at Romblon ay makakaranas po ng maulap na kalangitan na may kalat-kalat na pagulan at thunderstorms dahil naman po sa epekto ng shear line, habang itong Northern Mindanao, Zamboanga Peninsula, nalalabing bahagi po ng Visayas and rest of Caraga ay makakaranas po ng mga maulap na kalangitan at pagulan at thunderstorms dahil naman po kay Tropical Depression Wilma, habang itong Cagayan Valley, Cordillera Region, Aurora, Quezon ay makakaranas po ng mga mahinang pagulan dahil sa northeast monsoon, while in-expect po natin Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon and Mindanao ay makakaranas po ng generally fair weather today dahil po sa mga localized thunderstorms. At yan po ang latest dito sa Pag-asa Weather Forecasting Center, Munir Baldomero.
Munir, nakita nga natin na itong si Wilma ay slightly nag-accelerate. Ano bang implikasyon niyan at ano yung significance niyan para sa mga lugar na matatamaan niya?
Yes po, pag sinabi natin po slightly nag-accelerate ay medyo lumalakas, bumibilis din po yung paggalaw po nito. So it means pag once medyo bumilis yung galaw ng bagyo, it means na saglit lang po nila mararanasan yung mga pag-ulan over the area.
At Munir, anong mga lugar ba yung masasabi nating at most risk ngayon sa flooding, sa landslide, pati na rin sa mga coastal hazards?
Yes po. So for now po, yung sa mga areas po na prone po doon sa flooding po is particular itong Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Samar Province, Biliran Province, Leyte and Southern Leyte. Sa ngayon po, since tropical depression pa lang po itong bagyo, so medyo mababa po yung chances na magkaroon po tayo ng storm surge. So sa ngayon po, pinag-ingat lang po natin yung ating mga kababayan, particularly doon sa mga areas po na maaari pong daanan kasi sapagkat maaari lang po sila makaranas ng banayad hanggang sa maalon na karagatan ngayong araw. And also, hindi rin po natin inalis yung possibility na magkaroon din po ng strong to gale force gust, yung biglang bukso na malalakas na hangin, particularly doon sa mga areas na hindi po kasama sa wind signal, lalo na po yung mga nasa periphery, particularly itong most areas po ng Luzon and Visayas.
Munir, nabanggit mo nga na si Wilma ay most likely na mananatiling tropical depression. Ano ba yung mga factors na nakapaglimita sa pag-develop nito?
Yes, currently po yung isang factor po dito, yung current na weather system rin na nakakapekto sa ating bansa, itong northeast monsoon, since very dry po yung hangin na dala po nito. So wala po siyang enough moisture na pwede po mag-sustain or magpalakas dito sa bagyo. Kaya po, more likely po na maintain niya lang po yung tropical depression category niya po at hindi na medyo mababa po yung chance na mag-upgrade po siya to tropical storm, severe tropical storm, typhoon or super typhoon po.
At para dito sa Tropical Depression Wilma, mas malakas ba ang ulan kaysa sa hangin na dala ito? At magiging concern din ba yung gustiness kahit dun sa mga lugar na wala sa direct path ni Wilma?
Yes po. So far po, since nasa tropical depression category po ito, so ang medyo concern lang po natin is yung mga malalakas, matataas na pagulan, particularly yung nandito sa may eastern section ng Visayas. Sila po yung una po makakaranas ng mga between 100 to 200 millimeters na pagulan within the next 24 hours. And also yun nga po yung sa malalakas na hangin po, kasi before din po yung yung previous na mga dumaan na bagyo is yung biglang yung malalakas na bugso ng hangin is pwede pong magpatumba ng mga billboards. Kaya po nung after po nung isang incident dito sa may area po ng Quezon City, kaya po in-implement po nila ulit ng ating local government yung ruling po na kailangan po pag may bagyo po is kailangan binababa po yung mga billboards po.
So, Munir, para sa mga kapatid natin na may mga planned travels, lalo na by sea, masususpend ba ang sea travel? Kailangan ba masuspend yan sa mga affected na lugar, lalo na sa Eastern Visayas?
Yes po. Sa ngayon po, nakataas po ang gale warning, particularly dito sa may northern and western seaboards ng Northern Luzon, pati eastern seaboards ng Luzon and Visayas. So, sa ngayon po, yes po, kailangan din po natin i-suspend yung mga sea travel sapagkat medyo delikado rin po yung ating karagatan, lalo na po sa mga yung biyahe po ng matagal at lalo na po yung sa mga areas po na maaari pong daanan itong si Tropical Depression Wilma.
At Munir, tama ba itong si TD Wilma ay ang 23rd na bagyo na for 2025. Ano ba yan? Pasok ba yan doon sa nakitang pattern ng pag-asa for this year? Kasi maraming nakapansin, December na, pero bakit tag-ulan pa rin dito sa Pilipinas?
Yes po. So sa ngayon po, yung sa month of December, based po sa climatology, so ina-expect po natin na 1 hanggang 2 bagyo pa rin po yung pwede pong dumaan or mag-landfall over the area. So pasok pa rin naman po si Wilma dun sa climatology for December. And also, after ni Wilma, expect pa po tayo ng 0 or 1 or isang bagyo before matapos yung taon po.
Alright, maraming salamat para sa lahat ng update na yan. That was Pag-asa Weather Specialist Munir Baldomero. Now, in other news, the Supreme Court has allowed the re-entry of the Office of the Solicitor General as counsel in petitions challenging the legality of former President Rodrigo Duterte's arrest and turnover to the International Criminal Court, or ICC. In March 2025, former Solicitor General Menardo Guevara opted out of the case, reiterating that the ICC no longer holds jurisdiction over the Philippines following the country's withdrawal from the Rome Statute back in 2019. His successor, Solicitor General Darlene Berberabe, said the OSG's re-entry reflects that the office is performing its duties. In an interview with One News's The Big Story, Berberabe clarified that the move should not be interpreted as a step toward the Philippines returning to the ICC. Here's an excerpt of that interview on The Big Story last night.
Well, let me start off with something very basic. In signaling that it is coming on again as the lawyer of the government in this particular case, is Soljan also signifying to the public and to the Supreme Court that yes, we are back in the jurisdiction of the ICC, or not necessarily?
Wala pa po kami doon, so kami po ay nag-enter ng appearance dahil ito talaga ang mandato ng OSG. So in fact, yun pong dating pag-recuse, yun ang inihingi ng paalam sa Supreme Court kasi yun ay hindi normal na gawa, kaya yun ang inihingi ng permiso.
Pero ma'am, when you say wala pa kayo doon, what exactly do you mean by that? Does that mean that you're headed there?
Opo. Kaya po wala pa kami doon sapagkat nung nag-enter kami ng appearance, wala pa pong sumasagot lamang kami, nagbigay kami ng comment doon sa manifestation na sinubmit ni Senator Bato.
Opo.
So, in fact, procedural lang po ang aming kinomentan. Wala po namang order sa amin ang Supreme Court na magbigay ng komentaryo doon sa main petition na i-file ni former PRRD at saka Senator Bato, yung certiorari and prohibition. So, kaya wala pa po akong masabi na tungkol doon sa merits ng pagkakaroon ng ICC jurisdiction or not.
What are you seeing, Soljen, with regard to the case of former President Duterte? Kumbaga, moot na ba ito? But then again, there is that possible pending warrant against Senator Bato de la Rosa, in which case, parang mas magiging relevant or current yung rule ninyo. Have you started thinking of a strategy or options for that?
Opo. So, kailangan din po namin makausap ang nire-represent dito, ang aming kliyente dito sa kasong ito. And also, this was filed against the Secretary of Justice at saka Executive Secretary, then Executive Secretary Bersamin. Kasi kami ay, yung mga previous pronouncements kasi na aaral ng kung ano ang gagawin kung sakaling magkakaroon ng ICC warrant of arrest for Senator Bato. Na kung yung tinatanong niyo po na moot ba, ano po kasi yung petition na ifinalo nila petition for certiorari. Yung certiorari po, ang ibig sabihin nun, may ginawa ang gobyerno na sa tingin nila ay may grave abuse of discretion. So hindi siya moot, kumbaga lahat po tayo nag-iintay kung tama ba ang magiging ruling ba ng Supreme Court ay nagkaroon ng grave abuse of discretion itong mga respondents dito para magkaroon na rin po tayo ng once and for all guidance kung in future cases ay di magkakaroon ng mga parameters kung sakaling nagkaroon ng grave abuse of discretion. Now kung hindi naman po, then that could also be an input to the actions of our executive branch.
And in other news, the 9 Filipino seafarers from the MV Eternity Sea who were held hostage by Houthi rebels have safely returned to Manila just in time for Christmas. Here's that report.
9 Filipino crew members who were held hostage by the Houthi rebel group arrived in the Philippines on Thursday night. In July 2025, 8 other crew members had already returned to the Philippines. 3 crew members were killed and 1 remains missing. Families warmly welcomed the 9 seafarers upon their arrival. The crew members were aboard the MV Eternity Sea, which was attacked by the Houthis in July. The cargo ship was sailing through the Red Sea toward Somalia to deliver food for the World Group program when it was targeted by the rebel group.
Kahit medyo natagalan, ay sa wakas ay makauwi na ang ating mga kababayan. Welcome home sa inyong lahat. Tamang-tama, Merry Christmas.
The government has pledged financial assistance for the Filipino seafarers, along with free medical and psychological consultations. They will also receive livelihood support and help in restoring lost documents.
We know na mababakante sila in terms of work as they really need to spend time with their families after their ordeal. We will be providing counseling and medical assistance also. Of course, nag-offer na si ASEC Glo, but we also have our OFW hospital. Meron ding matter on their belongings, documents, government IDs and documents being lost, lumubog kasama ng barko. So I think it will be tomorrow. We'll have some sort of a one-stop shop. We'll call Pag-ibig and all those other agencies na SSS na nawala yung mga IDs nila para under one roof makausap na nila yung agencies to restore all their lost documents.
Do stay tuned. Morning Matters will be back after this short break. Good morning and welcome back. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and here on Morning Matters, we talk about the most pressing issues and we give you the context behind the headlines. Outgoing ICI Commissioner Babe Singson is urging Congress to pass the bill that strengthens the ICI, saying the commission lacks real powers. Singson, who resigns effective December 15, revealed that the ICI's budget hasn't been released. Staff remain volunteers and they are using borrowed equipment, making it impossible to move faster on cases. Lawmakers include Laila de Lima, Toby Tiangco, and Kiko Pangilinan, saying Singson's exit highlights the urgent need to approve the bill, although the measure hasn't been certified urgent as Congress nears its break. Malacanang insists the ICI remains credible despite Singson's departure, but some groups claim the resignation shows the administration is not doing enough to curb corruption. All right, and joining us to discuss the recent political developments this morning is Professor Aris Arugay of the UP Department of Political Science. Good morning, Professor, and thanks for being here on the show. Okay, Professor, I think you're on mute, so let's double check that. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning. Sorry about that.
Ayan. That's all right, Prof. Well, it's been another eventful week for Philippine politics, from resignations, executive sessions, and another set of charges and recommendations, pero no convictions yet. But let's start first with the resignation of Babe Singson from the ICI. What do you make of that, Professor?
Yes, while Secretary Singson said that the work continues and this does not really affect supposedly the integrity and the work, but at the practical level, of course, it does, because whoever will replace him, there'll be a learning curve as well. He will not, or she will not be on the same page as Secretary Singson. But I think the larger picture here is public perception. I think that's very important at this stage of this already long-drawn process of seeking accountability. Secretary Singson is the member of the ICI that used to head the DPWH, and therefore has a keen eye and institutional memory on how the department works. And therefore, of all the members of the ICI, he is the expert on infrastructure, and therefore it will be a great it is a great loss on his supposed resignation. But while he's saying it has something to do with physical health, which is of course completely understandable, he also mentioned a list of sources of his discontent on the entire process. It has something to do with the disempowered nature of the ICI. It has something to do with the lack of cooperation of seeking information, which is what they are doing to critical actors or people involved in the process. So while he's saying health, I think the public can see through that. The idea here is that the ICI needs to be a better institution for it to be able to deliver its mandate.
Well, you did mention public perception, Professor. What's the implication of this resignation? Will that add more fuel to the fire, to the discontent of the public, to the doubts that they already have with the credibility of these investigations?
It certainly does not help. It certainly doesn't enhance whatever the ICI is doing. Let's remember, while they expressed the acceptance, I think they were, my inkling is that they were more pressured to have the hearings online or on public, on live. Let's remember that it took them a while. They said they have to set up technology, but this doesn't also add or inspire confidence to the work of the ICI. That's one. Second is the idea that anyone that they ask, they cannot really summon. But unlike other investigative bodies, anyone they ask or requested to show up and give information can go under or take exception at the public nature of the hearings or the live streaming and invoke executive session, as what we have seen from members of the House who have appeared in the ICI this week. So I think this resignation adds on to the pile of issues concerning the ICI. And one thing is for sure, what the public seem to be thinking about now is that the I in the ICI, the independence that is supposed to be important, is not really there.
But do you think, Professor, that this resignation of Secretary Babe Singson as commissioner from the ICI would trigger even more resignations, would trigger instability? And at this point, what can the ICI do to restore the public's trust in them? I mean, you did mention already, they gave in to that demand for live streaming, for transparency, but at the same time, they're granting executive sessions, so we don't really get to see what's happening in these hearings.
Right. I think one grievance of Secretary Singson is that they've become the the institution to blame for this entire like they're the ones that are being made accountable for this accountability campaign or crusade, which is, I think, a bit unfair, because let's remember that this commission, while it's called independent, was only created by an executive order and has no binding powers in order to really get to the bottom of this. What is needed? I also think that the ICI operates on, for me, a very sinister legal system. If you notice, Secretary Singson even made the idea that came up with the idea that in countries like Singapore and Hong Kong, there's only one body that investigates everything. That even that is where you file the cases. That is where they render judgment. Instead of being these scattered institutions like what we have, right? We have COA, we have Ombudsman, we have Sandigan Bayan, we have the Supreme Court, and the rest. So that's one thing. The second is, I think, the idea of the ICI being blamed, as I said, being a bit unfair because it was only given incomplete powers. And this is why I think what should have been done, and this is the shoulda, woulda, coulda part, is Congress should have passed a binding law. If both the House and the Senate and the majorities within these two chambers of our legislature whose members are being implicated, allegedly, if the entire institution, both institutions, are really serious about investigating this, they would have thrown their weight and lent support, because there are pending bills on really establishing an independent commission that is not only independent, but more importantly, empowered and capacitated to really do the work that is necessary for this accountability campaign to succeed.
And I guess that's also really the question of everyone, right, Professor? I mean, there's already that bill proposing the ICAIC, and people are also waiting for the president to certify it as urgent, and yet it's being stalled, or there's been delays in the passing of this bill. But let's go to the executive sessions that were held this week in the ICI. How should we interpret, Professor, the contrast between Sandro Marcos, the presidential son, and Pulong Duterte, or Sandro Marcos attending, facing the ICI, and Pulong Duterte not appearing before the ICI?
Well, for me, that's not surprising. I mean, I would have been surprised if Representative Duterte attended the ICI. But I think what is happening right now is that this entire corruption scandal is already being used in this polarized dynastic feud between the Marcoses and the Dutertes. Unfortunately. And I said unfortunately because supposed to be, there should be no political colors as far as seeking accountability against corruption is concerned. I mean, at the end, who is really going to benefit if we get rid of corruption? It's the entire Philippine society, regardless of what your political leanings are. But what we're seeing is that this corruption investigation, this corruption crusade by the government is being seen through the prism of political affiliations, loyalties, and colors. So we know for a fact that the Duterte dynasty have already casted doubt on this entire campaign, especially if this campaign goes as far back as during the previous administration. On the other hand, those who are loyal or those who are part of the Marcos camp would also use this for political and partisan agenda. So unfortunately, we don't really see this process being independent of political colors, and I think this is the one that's also contributing to why there's this discontent about this entire thing, because at this moment, napupolitika na yung proseso na hindi naman dapat.
Right. Well, it's been 5 months already, Professor, since the president sounded the alarm on this flood control scandal with that Mahiya naman kayo speech during his SONA. I wanted to ask, what is the political narrative dominating public discourse right now? Because At the beginning, you have the president being sort of the whistleblower in this whole scandal, right? But now there are groups calling for his resignation. People are asking for his accountability in this whole process. When did public sentiment start to shift?
I think we should not blame the public for being impatient because the expectations were high because the president himself exposed this. So, Pauline, it's the most powerful political official in the country exposed this. And it's the first to be exasperated, to publicly express exasperation. So if you have the most powerful official that is supposed to be discontented with the extent of corruption, and it's been 5 months and nothing is being done, what does that symbolize, right? Is the corruption issue bigger than the powers of the president? Is that really what is being what is the narrative? What the narrative is? The idea here is, and this is why somehow it's not yet a complete boomerang, but the president is also getting flack from this. Because while in the beginning there was none, right? Let's remember there was none. The president was not being dragged into this because, to give him credit, he really blew the whistle on this, right? And credibly so, he was able to first show resolve, but following up on that resolve, I think, is where the administration is lagging, and this is where that. He needs to pick up the pace, the government. And while Malacanang can say, oh, the ICI is independent, in Philippine politics, if the president really wants to move things forward, it will move forward. He has all the tools. He is the president. So therefore, this discontent and public perceptions unavoidably goes back to him. And therefore, he mentioned that this is really the country is bleeding. I could not agree more, and therefore, it needs to be before the healing part. It really needs to address the wound, and I would even say not just a wound, this cancer that is corruption.
So the president did compare this to like removing cancer. It's like a major surgery that needs to be done, and so it will really take a lot of work. But what do you make, Professor, of the messaging of the administration as well? You have PCO Secretary Dave Gomez saying they're nearing the end game when it comes to solving this corruption scandal. Do they have control of the narrative? Because some critics also say when President Marcos started this, it was some sort of inoculation, right? For his administration to regain public trust. But now, there's that survey of WR Numero where the performance rating of the president is at its lowest. So is there still any viable path for President Marcos to regain public trust and improve his numbers?
Right. Well, the quick fix to this is to really show concrete, substantive outcomes. This year should not end with the current status quo. And the promise of the administration, right? Some are very, sound bites in caliber, like maraming hindi magpapasko, no? Maraming magpapasko sa kulungan ngayong darating na Pasko. Anong petsa na, no? Ilang linggo na lang Pasko na, no? But we haven't really seen the big fish. Nakikita natin yung mga maliliit na isda, dilis, sapsap. So therefore, Malacanang and the communications team of the president can only spin this so much, because if there are really no concrete results, no amount of spinning can really change public perceptions. And I hope the government would be really in touch with the public's perception and how they view things, because sometimes, if you are in power, you don't really get a sense of what the public's views are. And the disjunct between what the government believes and what the public believes, if this is greater and greater, then it would be very difficult for the president to regain the popularity that he had when he assumed office. Let's remember, this president was elected by a majority of the electorate, and he has set up huge expectations. And therefore, if there's public discontent, it is because you set up those big expectations. And while the performance is lagging, so this gap should be addressed, and if not, then it would be very difficult for the president to recover.
Well, some do say the last 2 years of his term is all about political survival already. But looking ahead to 2028, Professor Aris, what scenarios are you seeing? How exactly is the opposition benefiting from this? When I say opposition, we're talking about the pro-Dutertes and Dutertes. And they're actually emerging as a front runner in the 2028 national elections. What scenarios are you seeing?
Right. Well, it's still very early to say. And let's remember, if we look at our previous electoral cycles, the winning presidential candidate did not really figure out until the early part of the presidential election season. Right? Let's remember, for example, for 2016. Then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte was not even in the scenario as early as late 2015. So there's still a lot of time. There's still a lot of developments that need. So I would not bet that what we're seeing right now in terms of the landscape of the 2028 elections is already cast in stone or is already something figurative. And I ask the public to really be critical and mindful that these surveys should not condition our minds on what will be the political arena in 2028, because surveys don't determine our politics. It should be the votes of the people. And if the people wanted to vote for someone, even if they're not in the winning circles of surveys, they can do that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us this morning. I wish we had more time to break down other things, but for now, thank you, Professor Aris Arugay of the UP Department of Political Science.
Thank you, Pauline.
All right. Don't go away. We still have more matters to discuss right after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, has revoked the corporate registrations of St. Timothy Construction Corporation and St. Gerard Construction General Contractor and Development Corporation. The Diskaya-owned companies were found to have submitted false beneficial ownership information. The SEC also ordered the companies to pay 2 million pesos each in penalties, plus an administrative fine of 1,000 pesos per day for continuing violations. Their directors were also barred from holding any corporate position for 5 years. And during the Urban Poor Solidarity Week, national and local leaders highlighted a stronger, more unified push to support millions of Filipinos living in urban poor communities. Mobile Journal, Ray Vicente has the details.
This year's Urban Poor Solidarity Week is held in various parts of the country for a whole-of-nation approach to the urban poor communities. The 2025 Urban Poor Solidarity Week aims to strengthen partnerships with the urban poor sector, connecting them to national agencies. And for this year, the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor decided to celebrate it regionally to reach remote areas.
This is our first time that we decided to celebrate UPSW Regional sa buong bansa. Bakit? Kasi since nag-uumpisa ang PCUP 40 years ago, we've already accredited a total of 16,530 urban poor organizations. That's a total of 6.6 million Filipinos. We'd always celebrate UPSW here in Quezon City. Ang gusto ko sana mangyari, maabot namin far-flung places as much as we can.
With its theme of Sama-sama sa pag-alpas sa bagong Pilipinas, the PCUP echoed for a united nation through solidarity. wherein this celebration is one way to uplift the life of the urban poor community.
Ang pinili naming tema ay sama-sama sa pag-alpas sa bagong Pilipinas. Ito ay paalala sa ating lahat na ang tunay na pag-alpas sa kahirapan ay makakamit lang natin kung magkakaroon tayo ng pagkakaisa, pagtutulungan, and genuine concern for others. No one agency can claim that they can help.
As Quezon City remains to be one of the UPS venues, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte shared how the local government promotes sustainability amid challenges.
Bilang pinakamalaking syudad sa Metro Manila, tahanan po kami ng higit 3 milyong katao, 3.2 million to be exact. At 1/3 sa bilang na ito ay bahagi ng urban poor sector. Pinili namin na yakapin ang hamon na ito dahil naniniwala kami na karapatan ng bawat isa ang mamuhay na may dangal. Iniangkla namin ang lahat ng aming pagkilos sa isang pangako, kasama ka sa pag-unlad. Nasa buod nito ang pagtutok ng lokal na pamahalaan sa human and social services. Sakop ng interventions ng city government ang lahat ng components ng ALPA's flagship Community Development and Social Protection Program ng PCUP.
Pursuant to the Presidential Proclamation number 367, the Urban Poor Solidarity Week is monitored every first week of December. Kapatid Ray Vicente, we are One News.
And now shifting gears to sports, the Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association, or PATAFA, says preparations are now in full swing for the Southeast Asian Games as the country readies one of its biggest athletics delegations yet. Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho has the report.
With the 2025 Southeast Asian Games just days away, the Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association is making its final push, fine-tuning preparations and setting expectations as the country gears up for one of its biggest delegations yet. The Philippine Athletics team will field a total of 61 athletes, with most of the teams set to fly out on December 9, with competitions running from December 11 to 16, and from sprints and hurdles to pole vault and long-distance events. The Philippines is bringing a strong blend of experienced veterans and promising young talents. For the first time since 2023, race walking is also back on the program.
So we have now we have 3 athletes competing in that event. We have the Philippine record holder Carlos Diimos, young very race walker Seb Placido, and also a promising athlete Bianmar de la Cruz.
Leading the charge is 2-time Olympian EJ Abiena, fresh off a gold medal performance at the Atletang Ayala Pole Vault Challenge. Abiena enters the SEA Games holding both the Asian and national record of 6 meters and comes in with a season best of 5.8. He will be joined by 4 more Olympians who solidify the country's push for podium finishes. After finishing the last edition with 4 gold, 10 silver, and 8 bronze medals in 47 events, the Philippines is determined to raise the bar. But behind the lineup is months of quiet, consistent work.
We made sure to plan a bit earlier. Also, we ensured to have like a SEA Games training camp. So we started late September until now. This year we're positive and prepared to compare to the previous one.
With the team on its way to Bangkok, PATAFA reminds fans that their support means a lot to the athletes.
We ask for continued trust, support, and prayers for athletes. So win or lose, your encouragement, all the Filipino fans out there means a lot to them.
Kapatid Denise Valdesancho, we are One News.
Right, and before we go, TV5 has released a statement regarding its content partnership with ABS-CBN. The network acknowledged the value of ABS-CBN's popular programs to its viewers, especially after the latter's franchise was not renewed in 2020. And while it values its partnership, TV5 said that it has to address some concerns, specifically ABS-CBN's failure to meet its financial commitments to TV5. The network assured audiences that it remains committed to providing quality programming regardless of how the issue unfolds. All right, and that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. And for this week, we hope we've given you just the right start to your morning. Let's make this day matter. I'm Pauline Berzosa, sitting in for Gretchen Ho. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time.